Okay, we're getting a start on this, and the first thing I'm going to do is build the lower hull. I'm going to deviate from the instructions quite a bit, really. In the instruction sheet, they want you to attach everything to the sides of the tank, to attach all the suspension and return rollers and all that before you put the lower hull together. We're not going to do it that way. We're going to assemble the lower hull, and then we can see about bracing and what we want to do about suspension. And while I'm doing that, I'd like my buddies to be helping me try to figure out this suspension. Now, the wheels, if I use these, if I don't turn up something out of aluminum, these wheels should be pretty good. That's a plastic ring in there that pops out, which I believe can be replaced with a bearing. If I can size a bearing for that, then we'll have a bearing on the axle, in the wheel, that'll ride on the axle. And then in the end of the axle, I'll have to put the screw with a specially sized washer to hold this part of the wheel in place. Probably put a bushing in there because I'm not going to be able to get a bearing at this end. And then the other side of the wheel would glue on once the first side is on. Kind of like a Mado Panzer III wheel. How you got to put the back wheel on and put it in place, and then the other one presses onto it. That's a possibility. That's probably the most likely possibility for putting bearings on the wheels if we use these wheels. The other thing is to get an active suspension. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that on this. This is probably going to end up as a parade type vehicle. Smooth, flat surfaces only. No grass, no dirt. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I was thinking about trying to make a suspension. The problem is that the suspension on the real tank was a leaf spring suspension, single, and this arm would rotate up and down. Now I can still get that. I can make this arm rotate if I simply separate this roller from the leaf spring and install the roller. Then it would only be able to travel up that far, but it would be able to travel down freely. I'd have to probably cut this plastic bolt head off and replace it with an actual bolt to allow the whole system to swing up and down. Now that's not going to give me an active suspension, but what it'll do is when this lifts up to go over a bump, the rest of the road wheels will be able to fall down. So it'll give us kind of a simulated suspension. So I don't know, what do you think? Then for the rear, I haven't gotten into it yet, but I might be able to do some kind of idler system if I do a post for the rear idler wheel that's like off center, and then I could maybe turn it for track adjustment. I could maybe put a bolt all the way through it once I get it where I want it and lock it in place. I don't know, that's still to be determined. But any ideas on the suspension? If you've seen anybody else do one of these, the lower hull will be pretty simple to get together. It's just I just got to put on the front and back pieces and then glue everything into place, and then look at bracing, where I want to brace and what I want to do. But there's going to be plenty of room in here for motors and electronics and all that. That's not any kind of problem. It'll have a decent sound system. I'll probably use the IVU2 on there with the TPA amp. But while I'm working on the lower hull and getting all that sorted out, the best thing that my buddies can do to help, it would be to think about this suspension. What can we do there? How can we make that better? Okay? So that's where we're at. When there's more, I'll be back. Till then, we'll see you next time.